Look at us, guys. We did it. We did it. So, welcome to Rethink Everything You Know About Social Media, where we're going to start in this 4-part series is fixing our mindset. I got to do a very abridged version of this at MortgageCon. And so I want to give it a full hour. We got to do about 25 minutes at MortgageCon. And let's be honest, that was a long time ago. Nobody remembers anything that I said all the way back then anyway. And so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get after it. We're going to have fun. I hope you're ready. I hope I'm ready. Good night. Let's hit play on this thing. There it is. All right. So let me tell you guys up front that the QR code that you're going to see on a lot of these slides, they are going to take you to a place where you can go see my 30-day video challenge that's coming up starting June 1st. Here's the deal. For you guys, it costs you nothing. So when you go to the page, it's going to tell you it's $397. It's not, it's $0 for you. And so here's the deal. If you want to be a part of the 30-day video challenge for the month of June, just email me, DM me, and I will get you in there. Again, for free for all my Empire people. All right. But if you want to know more about it, you can scan the QR code and it'll take you to a landing page, all that fun stuff. But we're starting June 1. It's going to be incredible. If you're not where you want to be with video, this is what will get you there. And so that's what that is. So as we jump into this thing, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room that I'm not sure all of you are aware of. And it is this thing that we call social proof. And social proof is simple. Social proof is when we bought our newest vacuum, we did not poll a ton of our friends. We simply went to Amazon and we started reading reviews. And as we read those reviews, if we read bad reviews, we were like, ugh, we're not going to get this vacuum. And when we read good reviews, we thought, oh my gosh, this vacuum sounds incredible. We have to have it. And what's interesting about all of this is that we didn't know those people. We didn't know who they were. We allowed complete strangers to make 100% of the impact on which vacuum we chose. The same is true when you're told about a restaurant. Oh man, have you been to such and such? It's incredible. And 20 years ago, I would have gotten home that day and I said, hey honey, John told us about this new restaurant. We've got to go. You want to take the family there tonight? And we would have just gone. But now, guys, we don't do that because we have this little device that has every data point known to man available to me in about 1.4 seconds. And so I don't have to trust your word because I can go look it up. And I can go to Google and then I can end up on Yelp and I can begin to read reviews. And if I read reviews that say there's a hair in the pasta, I read reviews that said they kicked us out of the restaurant for sending our food back. All of a sudden, I'm beginning to wonder why you liked it in the first place. The world now allows us to really not have to trust people ever. And so we aren't as trustworthy as we used to be in other people. And so if my family's buying our vacuum based on the reviews on Amazon, and we're choosing restaurants based on the reviews on Amazon, or not on Amazon, but on Yelp and Google, this is happening to you. This is happening to you and I. And so we no longer can depend on just being good at our job. We no longer can just depend on getting across the table because we have this new group of buyers coming in. that they don't want to get at the table with you. They don't want to go to coffee. They want to DocuSign stuff. They want to do it with as much ease as possible. And so if you're old school and waiting to get belly to belly, shoulder to shoulder, face to face, you're going to miss out on opportunities. And so what I want us to think about right here in the beginning is a complete mind shift in the way we currently treat social media. Because right now, if you're doing it like most people, you use social media as a business tool. And so what do you do there? Well, you conduct business there. You constantly talk about mortgage. You're talking about rates. You're talking about products. You're posting closing photos, and no one cares. Because social media wasn't meant to be sold that way. It's meant to be a relationship incubator. And so if we want to do social media at a high level, if we actually want business to come from social media, we have to be a human being. We've got to be relatable, which means we've got to show up in ways that maybe up to now you're super uncomfortable with. This means that if you're a parent, that might need to be a little bit more evident on your social. If you're passionate about food, that might need to be a little bit more evident on social. If you're passionate about mortgage, you need to be a better educator of mortgage, not salesperson of mortgage. We got to flip the script. We've got to realize that, in my opinion, every single one of you that watching this now and will watch this later, you already know more people than you're currently being successful. You already know more people. When I meet with lenders and I ask them, hey man, hey girl, hey, how many realtor partners do you need to just change your business drastically? I hear 3, I hear 5, I hear 10. Yesterday I was speaking in Alabama and one of the women there said 15. And then I asked her, hey, how many Facebook friends do you have? And she begrudgingly said, 3,000. Like that was a bad thing. And so what I know to be true about all of us is we already know enough people to be more successful than we currently are. And so we've got to stop looking at social media as a lead generation platform and instead treat it as a lead preservation platform. We've got to go preserve the relationships that we already have. We've got to go pour into the men and women already present on our social media instead of trying to step on their backs to shove business content down strangers' throats. And so I want to flip this on its head. I want us to do this in a way that we've never even considered doing it before. And so to do this, we have to get out of our own way, because the sad reality for each of us is your biggest enemy of social media is you. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there is a dilemma at hand. And in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he explains it like this, that pre-1920, there was what he called the character ethic. And what the character ethic was men and women just decided and agreed that if they become better people, everything around them gets better. And so if I work on what we now call personal development, I become a better husband, I become a better father, I become a better business owner, a better sales guy. I'm better at everything if I choose to be better. But then in the 1920s, something happened. What he calls the personality ethic. And the personality ethic said this: being better is hard. Constantly looking in the mirror is difficult. Always looking for those 1% improvements is a struggle. And so what if, instead of that, what if I just morph myself to be what the person across from me needs. And that sounds noble, but here's what ultimately happened then, and it's happening now, is if you had 5 different meetings today, you morphed yourself a little bit to be what they want. And so this is why we can all think about people that when we're together, we might cuss a little bit more than we normally do. And we've got other people that we may not cuss with at all. We've got people that we drink too much with. We've got people we don't drink very much with at all. And so we have conducted our lives in these compartments. And we step in and out of each one of them based on who we're choosing to hang out with and or interact with. And so what's happening to us is we're becoming walking schizophrenics, unaware of really like who truly is Kyle. Because if I think about it, I represent like 4 to 5 different versions of myself depending on who I'm around. And so now when I say you need to be on social media more, the problem becomes, which version of yourself are you supposed to be? And so this is why if you've ever blamed things on social media like, I just don't know when to post, what's too many times to post, what platform is best, how many hashtags do I need, and we blame it on all these ancillary things in social media when the reality is simple. You haven't yet come into agreement with who you truly are. That's the real culprit here. Because the more in love you are with your own skin, the more accepting you are of your struggles and setbacks, the easier it becomes for you to show up in front of other people. And so this is deep psychological work. This is why most people are bad at social media. This is why for most people that are good at social media, they have either come into agreement with their most authentic self or they've gone all in on a fake version of themselves, but at least it's one version. And so I want to help you kind of discover who that person is today, because the reality is this: a person cannot rise above how they see themselves. And so it doesn't matter how great I am. It doesn't matter how many tips and tricks I give you. If you don't have the believability in yourself, you will not win here. You won't win here. So you've got to be willing to dig a little bit deeper, go a little bit harder, and be a little bit more honest about who you truly are. And then how willing are you to show up as that version of yourself on social media? And so I'm going to give you guys some different talking points from the book. For any of you that have read the book, thank you for reading it. If you haven't read the book, it's this purple book right here over my left shoulder. Rethink Everything You Know About Social Media. And we're going to dive in deep here. And so here's what I want us to think about first is the fact that your ego is the enemy. Why do we want more views? Why do we want more followers? Why do we want more comments? Because it feeds our egos. And I deal with this all the time. I run into people that go, bro, how do you get to 10,000 followers? How do I get my videos to get views in the thousands? To which I say, why do you need them to be that way? What benefit does that provide you? It serves your ego. But we know this. A transaction requires one person. That's it. You need one person for a business transaction to take place. And so you don't need 1,000 views. You don't need 10,000 followers. You need the right people paying attention. And the only way for us to get there is doing a better job of removing our ego from the situation. Because let me give you a simple video that all of you should do today if you haven't already. You should do a video titled, "What is earnest money?" That's it. Because every lender, broker, mortgage person, real estate person that I know, they're all saying, man, every transaction, I'm getting asked about earnest money. What is it? How does it work? Why do we have to pay it? All these things. And yet you haven't made a video about one of the questions that you get asked the absolute most. Why? Because of ego. Because your ego says, bro, you're gonna do a video about what is earnest money? How freaking lame are you? How lame are you? That's not cool. That's not sexy. That's not gonna go viral. That's not gonna trend. And so without you even realizing it, we are saying no to ideas because our ego is convincing us that it's not cool enough. When the reality is, we don't need to be cool. We need to be effective. We don't need to be cool. We need to make it about others. And so what do I know about ego? I know this, that your ego is a liar. It will tell you that your social media should be about you, but it should be about what's in it for others. If you want people to show up, if you want people to trust you, if you want people to ultimately say yes to you being their mortgage professional, you've got to learn to show up on their terms. You've got to learn to show up bringing something to the table. What is in this for them? But what do most lenders do? What do most mortgage brokers do? You simply go, okay, I need more business. And so what can I post today to get people's business? And you end up with content where the star of the show in every piece is you. And that doesn't serve people. And so as we learn this, we also have to realize, guys, that video is hard. Can we just be honest that video is hard? What I am asking people to do is hard. It's uncomfortable. Why? Because I believe that video is the hardest thing we'll ever do on social media because it is the most truth-telling mirror we will ever look into. What does that mean? What that means is when I show up to do a video and I recently got in a fight with my wife or said something rude to one of my daughters, and my mind says, bro, you're about to show up for these people and act like everything's good when like your family is a mess right now? Or you're really going to show up for these people looking like that? Look how fat you are. You're really going to show up when you just lost a deal yesterday and now you're going to go act like the expert? This is why video is hard. Video isn't hard for the main reasons we think it is. It's hard because there is psychological warfare involved. And so until you learn to overcome it one day at a time, it will always get the best of you and you'll say no, which means you then won't show up the way you should for your people. And so let's rethink the mindset we're bringing to the table. And instead of wishing that video were easier, what if we wished that we were better? What if we wished that we could work on ourselves in such a way to make video one of our advantages and not disadvantages? Because if video were easy, everyone would be doing it and it would no longer serve you as an advantage. But it isn't easy. It's super hard. And so for those of you that can overcome it, Wade Betts is in here. Incredible on video. It serves him well in his business. And I'll tell you right now, Wade is super glad that video is hard, because as long as it is, it'll always be an advantage that he has that a lot of people in Dallas don't have. And so don't wish you were easier, wish you were better. But we're going to overcome this together. And so how do we get there? We've got to truly operate from the mindset of helping others win. When I work with people that say, I don't know what to talk about, I already know it's because they're being selfish. Because when we have the filter in our brain that is, how do I get more business here? We're now operating every idea through that filter. Oh, what about this video? Well, do I think it'll bring me business? I don't know. And then you don't do it. Well, what about this idea? Well, do you think it'll bring you business? I don't know. Or you do the video, but it feels very salesy because, again, you started from a place of what's in this for me. But when I live out of abundance, when I live with the desire to help others win, it changes the game for my content. Because I don't have to worry about overcoming, how do I use the internet to get more speaking gigs? There's no amount of content that does that directly. That's not how this works. And so instead, I've got to say, okay, what do my people need? Where are they struggling? And how can I speak life into that situation? And then believe and trust that by creating that value, it's going to, in turn, go full circle, reciprocate itself, and ultimately help me win in the end. It's the long game of social media. And many of you have seen this quote from Zig Ziglar before. You can have everything in life that you want if you just give enough other people what they want. And so think about this for a moment. Think about how many questions you get asked over the course of a transaction. And we can break this into multiple parts. We can break this into the buyer. That's one piece. The seller's agent, the buyer's agent, right? All of those people could be potentially asking you questions. And so they are spoon feeding you your content. Your past conversations should become your future content. They're doing this for you. Every time you work with someone, they're asking you questions. What should those questions become? Future videos. But we overthink it and we let all of those questions go by the wayside because we're too focused on what's in this for me. How do I parlay this deal to the next deal? This is the ultimate difference maker. When I show up providing value to other people, I always am giving myself the chance to win. And the same will be true for you, but you've got to overcome this mindset and this selfish nature that we have all been taught through the mortgage industry. It's a game changer. We have to be trustworthy. But here's what's interesting about this. All of us would naturally go, bro, I'm super trustworthy. You kidding me? We're helping people with the largest financial decision of their lives. But what if you don't get to be in person where you feel most confident to be trusted? What if people are going to your social medias before they ever contact you and they're watching your content, consuming your content, trying to decide if you're the mortgage person for them? And so the question becomes, does what I'm about to post cause someone to trust me more or less? That is my focus when I'm posting on social, when I'm creating content, is does this content breed trust? Because without trust, there is no transaction. With trust, the transaction is soon to follow. And so the question is, on social, how can you show up online in such a way that it is breeding trust with people? So much so that you get to bypass all the boring conversation and dialogue where you're trying to convince each other that you should trust one another, and you move all the way to, all right, man, we're ready to buy a house. How does this work? What do you need from me first? I've looked you up. You look like a cool dude. I trust you. We both actually like the Mavs, and so I love that. And boom, they're already ready to engage in business, and y'all haven't even hardly had a conversation yet. This happens to me all the time. All the time. I get reached out by people that say, "Hey, we want you to speak at our event." And I start into my spiel, and they go, "No, no, 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 no. We're good. We already looked you up. We watched some of your videos. You're perfect for what we need. Are you free on September 14th?" We haven't even talked price yet. And in their minds, price doesn't matter because they already know they need me. And so they're willing to pay whatever it takes because my content bred trust, which led to conversion. And so this has to be at the forefront of the questions you ask yourself every time you're going to post something is, does this post cause someone to trust me more or less? If the answer is less, that doesn't mean the post is bad. All that means is you might need to tweak a couple sentences. What can I change about this post that will allow somebody to trust me more? Guys, this is so simple. Once you wrap your mind around social media is full of human beings that want to be in relationship, they want to be validated, they want to know that people are for them. And we can do all of those things by the way we choose to show up. And so the best way to do this is through daily video. Now, I don't mean daily video the way many of you may be thinking. I'm not saying you got to go be TikTok famous and do a TikTok a day. I'm not telling you you need to be on Facebook every day on video. This is all about 1-to-1 video. 1-to-1 video. And so let me tell you a story to help you illustrate this. Imagine that you and I are best friends. You're going to be our mortgage broker on this deal. We're buying a home. My wife is going to, for the most part, trust me to handle everything, but she's going to want to be kept in the know. And so she doesn't really know you, but she knows of you, and I've talked highly of you. And so she's going to trust that enough to start the transaction, and we're going to be in business. And one day you're going to call me to give me an update on where we're at. And then I'm going to get home, and I'm going to say, "Hey, honey, guess what? Wade called." Well, what did Wade say? Wade said we're good. Well, what does that mean? What do you mean? What does it mean? He said we're good. Well, what else did he say? Well, that's what he said. He just said we're good. And so now, guys, the interrogation starts, and my wife's going to go, "Okay, hold on. How long were you on the phone?" 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, all Wade said was we're good. Well, no, he said other things. Well, what did he say? Guys, y'all are starting World War III in homes all across America, and you didn't even know it because you are so invested in old school communication, which does not work as effectively as we think it does anymore. And so if you look at your process with your buyers, all your touch points are going to be split up between phone calls, emails, text messages, all of which have big time problems. With a phone call, only one member of the receiving party is going to hear it. With a text message, you leave room for gray for me to think an emotion that you didn't intend. With an email, that could be construed in a multitude of ways. It may never even be seen because of how crazy our spam filters are these days. And so there's all these problems. Well, when is there not a problem? When we're in person. And what's the next best way to be in person when we can't be in person? To be on a video. It's to be on a video. We've got to be on video. And so imagine in this scenario, Wade calls me, we have a great conversation, but then Wade jumps on his phone afterwards and records a quick video and says, "Hey, Lana, let's be honest. Kyle's not going to tell you anything about this conversation. So here's where we're at. If you need anything from me, here's my number. It's an honor to serve you and your family. Guys, if Wade texts me that video for me to show Lana when I get home, Lana is so excited to know Wade because Wade is speaking her love language. Wade is keeping her involved. Wade is helping her feel communicated to, making her feel heard and a part of it. And so here is why I love this so much. If you keep doing what you're currently doing, you will only ever get half of the referral opportunities that you're capable of. Because if you're working with a ton of families or multiple adults involved, you're only connecting to one. And you're leaving the rest to feel zero connection to you. Does my wife know people that I don't know? Absolutely, she does. And so if you were communicating through video, you would be touching my family in a way that you can't any other way. You could record a video at the end going, Drapers, the day has come. We're going to be closing on Thursday. And I can't wait. Harrison, Everly, baby Ruby, y'all get to pick your rooms. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this journey with you guys. Thursday is almost here. When you send that video to us, not only are we going to stream it on our TV and play it for everybody, but I'm going to text that to my parents. I'm going to text that to my brother and his family. I'm going to text that to a couple friends. I might even put that video on Facebook and go, have you ever bought a home before? Has your lender done this? Look at how cool this is. It's daily video in a one-to-one environment. This costs you nothing. And so why is daily video awesome? Because daily video ignites your referral opportunities. Because the reason we don't get referred more often is not because people don't like us. It's simply because people have forgotten us. Because you're not top of mind. Because life moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And so our attention is being fought for in a ton of different ways. And so we can no longer just go, oh, my friends know that I'm a speaker. Yeah, if they want me to speak at something, they'll ask me. Guys, last Friday I spoke at a local Rotary Club here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And one of my best friends, who is a lender in North Dallas, she is one of the leaders in that Rotary Club. And she has never thought to ask me because typically I get paid money to speak. But I'm pivoting one of my businesses to be more of a local Dallas-Fort Worth business. And so I'm looking for opportunities to speak in Dallas-Fort Worth. And so I had to message her and say, hey, what is it going to take for me to speak at Rotary? And she's like, oh, we can make that happen. I didn't think you'd ever want to do that. People know what we do, but they forget we exist. This is why one-to-one video is so powerful. And I'm debating on teaching a one-to-one video class as part of our series. I haven't decided yet, so maybe we'll do a poll. Because, guys, this can ignite your business. And it takes very little effort, and it costs you nothing other than a willingness to get in front of the camera. And so I hope you're beginning to see this differently. But we're not done. Because something else that I love to teach people is this. Say it again. We get so frustrated with, I don't know what to say. I just never, I don't feel like I'm very creative, and I watch other people and they're more creative than me, and I'm just not sure. Well, did you know that you don't need to be overly creative? Because your people are already your people. They already know how creative you are or not creative you are. They just need to see you more often. And so this is one of my favorite quotes on the planet. Everything that needs to be said has already been said, but since no one was listening, everything must be said again. If you would record 10 to 12, what I would call like pillar videos, you could post all of those every quarter. And nobody's going to go, wait a second, did you have that hat on 3 months ago? Nobody's going to remember. Nobody's thinking about you that often. You know why? Because they're too busy thinking about themselves. Our world, guys, is so selfish. Just about every human being on the planet wakes up today going, what is in this day for me? Not, how can I use this day to serve others? And so as long as we're dealing with people that are more focused on themselves than they are on us, they're not going to remember. And this is the beauty of social media. But you're overthinking it. And so let's underthink it. And as we do this well, guys, we have to stop and talk about how you have to accept your issues. You are jacked up, right? How do I know that about you? Because it's true about me. We are flawed people. We were born broken. My almost 1-year-old, right? She's learning how to say no. And no one has to teach her how to lie. She comes by it naturally. And so if I were to ask her in a few months if she was eating Cheetos with orange stuff all over her face, she will say, no, Dada. I didn't have to teach her how to do that. She already knew. It is in the nature of who we are. And so we got to accept our issues. If you're overweight, you're overweight. If you want to do something about it, do something about it. But guess what? Your people already know. My people know. I'm a big boy. And so why would I let that keep me from being on social more often when everybody already knows? And so we've got to let go of this perfectionistic attempt to fool people. Ain't nobody buying it. You have issues. And the faster you come to terms with that, the more effective you'll be on social media. So I want to give you this. Some do, others will, and the rest don't matter. What does this mean to you? That right now, some do. Some people already love you. In the future, others will. You're going to continue to meet new people that become super fans, and it's going to benefit your life and business. But the end of this is the most important part, and the rest don't matter. You are not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You are not going to be everybody's favorite person. You are going to have haters. You are going to have people that say things behind your back. You are going to have people that do not believe in your abilities. Who cares? Because like I said in the beginning, you already know more people than you currently are successful. But the industry is going to say, oh, you're having a down year. You need more leads. You need more leads. You need more leads. You don't need more leads. You need to go serve the people you already know better. But it's hard to serve other people when we're thinking poorly of ourselves. It's hard. So this is why we have to accept our issues. This is why I will be who I am. I will wear my black pants and my black shirt when I speak. And if that is why somebody chooses not to use me, shame on them. Not woe is me. Because I'm going to be me. And it is a superpower when you can come into agreement with who you were designed to be. And you'll be blown away at how it helps you show up online. But the last couple of things, guys, and I don't know that I've ever told y'all this story, but nothing happened until it did. I get asked all the time, Kyle, how'd you go from being a pastor to a roofer to a guy that built websites for realtors and now a social media expert? And the story is this. When I left church ministry, we moved our family to Oklahoma, where my wife is from, but I knew hardly anybody. And on top of that, I started a new business with my dad and my brother. We started a roofing company. I ran the company in Oklahoma, but I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And so I was on the fly learning sales, learning marketing, learning business, learning relationships, learning networking, learning how to use social media. And I was just doing anything I could that I thought might in the future benefit what I was trying to accomplish. And so I was going to networking events and having tons of coffees and just loving people. I was also, though, at the time, Facebook Live had just come out. And so I was using Facebook exclusively then to just try to win people. And I became known as the Facebook guy. Like, I'd walk into a networking event and there'd be somebody that would say, why do you already look so familiar? And I'd be like, oh yeah, I friended you on Facebook a couple months ago. Oh. Somebody else would say, do you have a son named Harrison? And I go, I do have a son named Harrison. And they wouldn't even know why they know that. And it was because we were friends on Facebook. And I was doing videos on the rooftops of houses, and I was interviewing people, and I was teaching and equipping and educating and loving on people. And even my own wife at times, guys would say, what are you doing, bro? Is this going to work? Is this helping you make money? And I'd have to say, I don't know, but I think it's going to. And I'll never forget, about 9 months into all this, the first hailstorm comes through Oklahoma City since we'd lived there. And so early at like 6 a.m. that morning, I did a video talking about the storm and what you should do next and what to be aware of. And guys, in less than an hour, that video had been shared 50 to 60 times, thousands of views, hundreds of comments. And in one day, check this out, in one day, I received over 100 inbound leads. Phone calls, text messages, emails, DMs from people going, so-and-so said you're the only roofer I can trust. So-and-so said you're the best roofer in Oklahoma City. And guys, here's the deal. At that point, we'd roofed like 3 houses. We were not the best, but they didn't know that. And we looked like we were the best because I was coming to them by way of a direct referral. Nothing happened until it did, but here's the deal. John Maxwell says, small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. What I was willing to do that most were not was stay committed to the process, was to keep making videos even when I wasn't sure if they were working. It was to continue to put other people first. And I truly believe that this is why I won. And it was that moment that not only proved that what I was doing worked, but it's what started me teaching Facebook classes to realtors, which led to now me being on here with you. This works, but not if you just hope to be better. It only works if you commit to taking action every single day. And so you've got to decide right here in this moment as we begin to wrap this up, are you going to continue to just be lip service to people? Are you going to talk about what you want to do, or are you going to start doing what you've talked about doing? Because what's so hard for social media for most people is that it requires you to suck before you get better. It's just kind of inevitable. You're going to do bad videos before you do good ones. You're going to write bad copy before you write good copy. You're going to use too many hashtags before somebody tells you to stop using so many hashtags. It is simply a trial by error process. And so this is why I put all this effort into the mental aspect of this, because if I don't get confident in who I am, all these little mess ups will completely screw me up. But if I get confident in who I am, plus I get confident in what I want to do for others, my little mistakes no longer seem as big, because it's not about me anyway. It's about helping others. And so we've got to do this different. I was watching a video on TikTok the other day of a mom whose daughter, the daughter looked like she was maybe 4, was on their front porch, and a raccoon starts attacking her. And so this is all caught on Ring doorbell. And so the mom comes bursting through the front door, grabs that raccoon by the back of the neck, and starts wrestling it away from her daughter, and then ultimately like just chunks that thing. Now, that mom knew that the Ring doorbell was there. That mom probably knew that, man, we might end up with a viral video here. So do you think that mom went and put an extra layer of lipstick on before she went out to save her daughter? Do you think that mom like put her hair back in a hair tie so her face would be very obvious to everybody that would watch the viral video? No. A mom saw her daughter in need and boom, stepped into action. Why? Because saving her daughter was more important than anything else. And so, the superpower that I'm going to provide you as we wrap this thing up is that if you want to do social media at the highest level, you have to love helping people more than you fear looking stupid. Because if it always comes back to what's in this for you, oh, I don't want to say something dumb, I don't want to look, right? Again, that mom didn't say, I'm not in the right outfit, so honey, you're going to have to fend off that raccoon on your own. What do we care about most? Protecting ourselves or serving other people? If you choose serving other people, you will instantly be better at this, because the things that cause most people to struggle won't be why you struggle, because it won't be about you anymore. This is deep work. This requires, for me, prayer. This requires reflection. This requires really desiring to know, like, who am I? What is my purpose on this earth? Why am I here? Because it's the answers to those questions that allow you to become who I believe that you're called to be. And so the last piece to this thing, guys, is this: be a connector. Be a connector. Use social media to introduce people to one another. And here's what this looked like for me. When I was growing our roofing company in Oklahoma, the coaching program that I was in, one of his tactics was be a connector. And so he would tell us, when you're meeting with people at the end of the conversation, ask them, who do you need to know? And so I would have coffee with people, and at the end of the conversation, I'd say, hey, this might be random and weird, but like, who do you need to know? And most people would be very taken back by that. And I might have to reframe the question. You know, hey, what industry do you love to know people in? And so a realtor might say, man, I love knowing insurance agents. Cool. Before the week's over, I'll intro you to an insurance agent that I trust. And then I would go find an insurance agent to introduce them to. And I'd create those connections. And now 2 people know each other because of me. And guys, when you become the reason that 2 people know and like each other, you win. You move up in both of their lives. They feel like they owe you. When they're together, they're going to think about you. And I was creating connections with people all over town. And it was amazing, the outcome of that effort. This is what we should be using social media to do. Creating relational opportunities with people, not sales moments. Because that was never what it was intended to be. And here's the way I want to close this up. Some of y'all may remember this from MortgageCon, but there is a phrase called a parasocial relationship. And I have a parasocial relationship with The Rock. What is a parasocial relationship? It is when one person is emotionally invested and the other person doesn't know that this person exists. I'm emotionally invested. The Rock doesn't know I exist. And so I truly believe, man, if The Rock just knew who I was, we would be friends. And I watch all of his wrestling matches and all of his movies and all of his TikToks. But he didn't have a clue that a guy named Kyle Draper even lives on planet Earth. And so without him realizing it, he has a fan in me that will try to get other people to be fans of The Rock. And he may never know I'm even alive. The reason this matters is because with where social media is, with the advancements of video, you and I have the ability to have parasocial relationships with people all over the planet. So that you can walk into any restaurant, Target, the grocery store, and somebody goes, is your name Wade? And you go, yeah, my name is Wade. I watch your videos. Guys, it's so cool. And it's so impactful. Last month, I just finished speaking in Wisconsin, and I was on a layover in Detroit. And I'm sitting in the airport, and I look over, and these two women are staring at me. Now, I'm not very good looking, so I've never had women stare at me before. I'm not accustomed to that. And so I'm kind of weirded out about this, and I'm wondering why they're looking at me. And I happen to be traveling with a friend that I just met who's also a mortgage lender. And so she's watching all this happen. And then these two women get up and they start walking towards me. And then I realize they're actually walking to me. And one of them pulls my purple book out of their backpack and says, "Are you Kyle Draper?" I said, "I am." And they asked me to sign my book in the middle of the airport. And then they asked to take a selfie with me in the middle of the airport. And now 50 people in this terminal are looking around going, are we supposed to know who this guy is? What's happening right now? It's the power of a parasocial relationship. These two women love me, even though I didn't know they existed. And the more of those people that exist, the greater opportunities we will be provided in our business. But we have to be willing to show up. Guys, when we get this right, social media, I know this is going to be shocking to many of you, but social media can become enjoyable. Social media gets fun when I make it about making other people's lives better instead of just thinking about what's in it for me. When it's just about what's in it for me, it's stressful. But when I make it about others, it just got fun. So this is why rethinking the mindset you're allowing yourself to live in regard to social media is so important. And so again, if you jumped on late, guys, I want to invite all of you to be a part of my 30-day video challenge. It is free to you because of Mpire. So the QR code will just take you to the landing page so you can read more about it. Reach out to me personally if you want to be a part of it, and I'll put you in the Facebook group. You can DM me if we're connected on social. You can text me if you have my cell phone number. You can email me at kyle@kyledraper.com. What does this look like? Every morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, I do a live video where I introduce the prompt for the day and I give a little bit of coaching and teaching around it. Every day for 30 days. Some videos are meant to be public, which means we post them. But guys, other videos are meant to be private. one-to-one with people. And so this isn't about posting video for 30 days. It's about recording video for 30 days. Because that's how we work the muscle. That's how this becomes habit. And this is how we begin to rethink everything we know about social media. And so, guys, I hope we learned something. If y'all have got questions, I'm happy to answer a few of them. If you don't, then we will be done. And I appreciate y'all being here. And if you thought this was terrible, I'm going to do my best to make the next one better. Any thoughts, questions from anybody? I guess I'm not totally sure on where I would even find them if you did have one.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. So I'm stepping out. I'm going to DM, text you, whatever,
Okay,
because
great.
I know I am so freaking behind the eight ball. And I don't know about anybody else, but you were sure talking to me
Good.
about it's my ego in the issue. So I am
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to reach out to you. Thank you for this.
I love it.
And I do too, but I'm freaking scared, but I'm going to do it.
Of
And I'm
course.
keeping it out here for all my other Empyreans. And
Come
I know
on.
I've said it before, but
And I can't see. Tell me your name.
Kim Creighton.
Kim. It's great to
Great.
meet you.
Yeah, same here. So
I'm excited to have you in the challenge. You're gonna hate it and love it at the same time.
I believe it, but I know I have to get over myself, because when you said something about, like, when someone asks you a question that really is content, and the crazy thing is I have so much content, but I just need to get over myself.
That's right.
To get out there and push it. So
That's right.
So thank you for this. And thank
so
you,
welcome.
John Noda Whitlack, for having him on. So
That's right. Thank you, John. Oh, I saw a fire emoji. That's
how
fun.
do I get back to my seat in here?
Kim, don't ask me to lie to you. I don't know how any of this works.
Okay, let me figure it out. Okay.
Anybody else? Maybe if somebody else pops in. Oh, we figured it out. Anybody else have a thought or question before we go? And guys, y'all know I'm a part of the Mpire family. So if you want to reach out to me one-on-one, I'm happy to serve you in any way that I can if you don't want to ask a question publicly. But I see somebody up here ready to talk.
Hey, thank you so much. It was really great. First time I've seen you. I do a ton of social media video, and it is so important to get out there and be yourself.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I work with realtor partners too is if they don't understand who they are and why they're doing this, how are they ever going to sell anything to anybody? So it's
true.
a great content. Love to sign up for your class. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here. All right, my friends. An honor. I don't know when our next one is scheduled, but it's on the calendar, so you'll see me back in a few weeks. And I hope to have some of you guys in the challenge. So appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye, everybody.